You've probably seen this photo floating about on the internet the last couple of days. It's not mine, although I did post it to my Twitter and my Instagram. These boxes and this couch, they do not belong to me. It generated a little bit of discussion, and it came off the back of another tweet I put up a few days ago. Yeah, I know I'm talking about my own tweets and I'm making videos about it now. I usually do it about others. In this tweet, I said, it looks like the prices of Japanese Pokemon cards have crossed the line of what people are willing to pay. It's crazy what happens when foreign resellers hide retail price from their customers, greedily mark up popular sets, all the while promising they're giving you the best deal. Also, massive lamau to any store, reseller, or flipper who is now concerned about this. Again, wasn't a problem when you were benefiting from it, but now that your customers can't afford to buy your product, it's a big problem. Please. Yeah, there's a little bit of venom in this tweet, and I'm not going to deny that it's a shotgun at any store that's been partaking in the malicious price manipulation of Japanese Pokemon cards like Plaza Japan, and I'm going to use them as the poster boy for this video because I don't want to go and single out and give more attention to the stores that are reselling and reshipping sets like Triplet Beat, which hasn't even come out yet, Scarlet and Violet EX, which are triple the retail price. So I've harped on about this plenty on the channel, but if this is your first time encountering Japanese Pokemon cards, for the 10%, it's why I'm here. $104, $120, and $95 US. This is not the retail price of Japanese booster boxes. When I explain to you what it actually is, you're going to cry. It's 5,400 yen, and if you don't know what that is converted, it's 42 US if we round it up just a little bit. So Plaza Japan out here selling it for triple, and I guess they're sort of setting the bar for every other store out there. Because ultimately, if you're a store selling Japanese Pokemon cards, it would be silly to price your booster boxes any less than the leader in the market. Now, you're probably wondering why this picture in particular is such a big deal, especially considering we've had scalpers and flippers in the Pokemon scene, the collectibles scene, the sneakers scene for as long as they've been around. And while I don't disagree with you, scalpers have always been around and always probably will, they're a little bit different to the scalpers that you're probably familiar with in the West. You know, if you guys remember, stores like Walmart used to get raided by dudes that all looked identical. What is it with collectibles and people that are trying to flip it, sell it, or profit from it? They all look exactly the same. They're all middle-aged. This isn't a knock on middle-aged people, by the way. They're all wearing backwards caps. I don't get it. This level of scalper, this kind of flipper is a little bit different to what's happening over in Japan, because these guys more than likely are trying to get product off Walmart shelves for themselves, for their breaks or their stream. Maybe they're trying to kickstart something, or to just flip a few on eBay and make an extra couple of dollars. What we're seeing over in Japan is just a little bit different to that. I'm willing to bet that this person didn't go to a Walmart or a Japanese store and sweep the shelves of all the product and take it home and put it on their couch. We're looking at probably 500 booster boxes here, and if we do some quick math, 500 times 40, it's 20,000 US. So highly unlikely that that person's gone and bought them off a store shelf, especially considering it's one per person over in Japan at the moment for most LGSs. What I think is happening before it even hits those shelves is that it's getting backdoored to somebody who for some reason has a line or a way to get that stock to them before it can actually reach the stores. And the reason why I suggest that is because I'm seeing more and more often Facebook groups, community posts, whether they're public or private, of sellers in Japan looking to offload this product to international buyers. This is just one picture, but we're probably looking at like $20,000 worth of product between Scarlet Violet EX boxes, which are popular right now, V-Star Universe, the Precious Collector box, probably like 20 Eevee Heroes, VMAX Climax, and Shiny Star V boxes. This is a lot of product, and this isn't a store, because if it was a store in Japan, it'd probably be on that store's shelves. This is concerning for two reasons, and I'm not trying to ring alarm bells or say the sky's falling or fearmonger. It is a bit of an issue. The first of those is the level of sophisticated scams coming out of Japan at the moment. Opossum Bud put a video showing the latest, which is that Scarlet Violet EX boxes aren't actually tamper-proof, and you can get around that seal, open it up, find the secret rare, and wrap it back up in plastic. You may have seen my video speaking about V-Star Universe a couple of months ago, demonstrating the multitude of ways that V-Star Universe boxes and cases can be taken advantage of. These boxes that are supposed to go to a store instead are going to some person's house or storeroom. And because of that, there's little to no recourse if you buy it off them and something goes wrong. Once they get it, and once that check clears, they get their money, they're not really interested. If the whole lot has been tampered with, if the secret rares have been taken out of the boxes and the boxes have been resealed, if you buy a box off someone like this and that happens, there's not a whole lot you can do. And chances chances are you're not really buying your boxes from this person. You're buying it from somebody who has bought it from them. So there's this extra line, there's this extra person that you have to go through to resolve it that makes it almost impossible. As somebody who likes to collect Japanese Pokemon cards, that is just not a risk that I'm willing to take, because the second issue here is that they are priced so high. And yes, I know Plaza Japan, pretty reputable source, although they price things ridiculously. Every other seller is basically matching that price and selling it to the highest bidder, which is the second issue. These suppliers, or these secondary suppliers, or whatever you want to call them, middlemen, they're able to dictate the price and sell it to the highest bidder. Now, whenever I bring this topic up, same argument comes my way: supply and demand. Embrace Gaming, Ryan, good friend of mine, so don't go and give him any grief. This was a healthy convo. He dropped those three magical words: simple, supply, and demand, which I gotta disagree with. The supply, it's well and truly there, and I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later on. The demand I disagreed with at the time, but when I checked out the search trend for Japanese Pokemon cards over the last 3 years, it looks like it's peaked around December 2022. Dropped off a little bit now, but well and truly higher than where I thought it was, which was December 2021 when sets like VMAX Climax came out, and May. Still pretty popular in 2021 when Eevee Heroes came out, but nowhere near the spike that we see over here when V-Star Universes dropped. And that all adds up, because around about December 2021, you're able to get really popular sets for very, very cheap for retail. Eevee Heroes, Fusion Arts, and Shiny Star V. This is a receipt of mine. It's from December 11th. You're just gonna have to trust me on that one. And here's another one for Sun and Moon sets, again around about the same time. Remix Spout, I think that's like a $200 or $300 box now. And I actually bought it for less than retail. That's close to wholesale. So this store was basically giving them away. I actually made videos at the time, by the way, talking about those reprints. So if you're watching the channel around about then, you would have been privy to that info. You probably would have got on board. So I got a little bit hung up on this graph, trying to figure out why the interest was so low when some of the best Pokemon cards of the year were releasing in VMAX Climax. And around about that time, a set called Pokemon Celebrations dropped. And that's where basically everybody's interest was, because it was the cherry on top of that Pokemania that had carried on between 2020 and 2021. And that dropped off significantly. Nobody really cares about Pokemon Celebrations anymore. And even if we look now, it's at 5% of what it was at its peak, which was when it first got revealed and released over in October. The demand and the interest for that set was both organic and fabricated, in my opinion. If we go and look at YouTube and just type in invest in Celebrations, if you're around for this period, you would have seen these videos littered everywhere. And this isn't personal. If you've seen your video in this thumbnail, it's not about you. I'm just using it as an example here, but talking about investing in Pokemon Celebrations before it's too late. Was Celebrations ever worth the hype? Top 5 most valuable Celebrations products, you know? Everybody was trying to push Celebrations as this thing that you had to get or you were going to miss out. That to me suggests that a lot of the interest in Pokemon Celebrations was created by people simply talking about it. The set was really cool, but I would have thought if you liked something, or people liked something as much as they did, they'd continue to like it beyond just that 3 to 6 month window. You know, you could still buy Pokemon Celebrations after this Christmas period, just that nobody really wanted to anymore. So you're probably wondering, what's this all got to do with Japanese Pokemon cards? Well, that curiosity continued a little bit, and I overlaid the graph with Crown Zenith as a search term, and you can see how the interest just completely dwarfs two really popular, hyper-focused sets for investors and collectors. It's 100 to 3 to 5. That's ridiculous. And it's reflected when you go over to YouTube and you type in something like Crown Zenith shortage. Again, nobody take this personally. Crown Zenith already out of stock. Crown Zenith card prices are crashing already. Do not invest in Crown Zenith. It's a lot of people telling you what to do and what not to do. And you get some creators trying to reach or just create topics that they can talk about. Again, don't take this personally. But topics like, is Crown Zenith the next Evolving Skies? It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but it gets your brain thinking and it gets you interested in it again. And that's where people's attention shifts. In case it isn't clear, and it probably isn't, because I got a habit of running my mouth just a little bit too much, the demand is fabricated because people are talking about it, because content creators and YouTubers and streamers are hyper focusing on Crown Zenith now. That's where all the attention is shifted. And that's where it was for Japanese Pokemon cards. Despite 2021 historically being the year where Japanese Pokemon cards were in the least amount of supply, Pokemon Japan apologized twice for issues with Eevee Heroes and the lack of supply. It's nearly a tenth, and that's the reason why, despite supply being so short, you were able to pick up sets like Eevee Heroes and Shiny Star V at that point, because people just simply were not talking about it. And I know what you're about to say. This is a perfect storm of peak demand versus lack of supply, but it just simply isn't the case. The supply is well and truly there. Here's another example of somebody who, I don't know, having what is the equivalent of a small LGS's allocation, 8 long ways and 17 down. That's 8 times 17. I don't know, but it's like 7,000 USD worth of stock of V-Star Universe, but it's being sold on a Facebook group. Why isn't it being sold in a store? Here's another example of somebody with V-Star Universe and Scarlet Violet EX looking to sell it to the highest bidder. And again, Scarlet Violet EX, the Leaning Towers here, and you've got probably $5,000 to $6,000 worth of it being sent to the highest bidder. It's there. It's well and truly there. And this is the reason why Japanese LGSs in store, brick and mortar stores, are limiting one per person. Because if these people are able to backdoor it the way that they are, then what's stopping them from going and sweeping out a whole store? So at least the LGSs in Japan are doing something to try and combat that. But it just ain't enough, because this person over in the States, again, has like $5,000 to $10,000 worth of stock. It's all being siphoned out of Japan, and it's being sold to the highest bidder. And as long as people are paying for it and buying it, then it's going to continue to happen. Why would anybody stop? If there's customers out there looking to buy, then someone going to be there ready to sell it to them. And that's why you end up with pictures like this. You know, this is $20,000 worth of product, and it's just one person. If you want it to be real conservative, let's say there's maybe 50 people in Japan that are doing something similar to this. We rip out the old calculator and start punching numbers, $20,000 worth of stock, and there's 50 people that are doing something similar to that. That's like $1 million. That's $1 million worth of supply going to these 50 people. Maybe that's a bit too ambitious. We're assuming a bit too much. Let's say there's 50 people that are getting at least $10,000 worth of stock. That's $500,000 worth of stock. And if each booster box costs $40 retail, because, you know, again, most likely being backdoored, that divided by 40 means there's 12,500 units that are just being drip fed, siphoned out of Japan. And I'm being generous there because I think there's way more than that out there. And ultimately, it's just getting sold to whoever is willing to pay most. Go look at the Pokemon trading card game category over on Twitch. Go look at Whatnot. That's the beauty of streaming. It's hard to see the history of it, but it is well and truly there. You got breakers opening up more product than you can even fathom. Because let's be serious, that's where most of these boxes are going. These suppliers in Japan would much prefer to send $10,000 worth of product to one Twitch streamer, get one easy payment, rather than selling 200 boxes individually at $50 per. It's easy to just get paid all in one go and let the streamer mark it up as they like. I've been told I'm whining a lot lately and I've kind of fallen off. In an ideal world, I wouldn't have to talk about topics like this. I take no pleasure out of it. 98% of you like to know what's happening. You want to hear about this stuff. There's 2% of people that dislike everything. I don't focus on the 2% anymore. I focus on the 98%. Thanks for watching.